So we're going to get started. Welcome to the Facilities Committee meeting. The Penn Ridge School Board welcomes public comment. According to Policy 903, we remind everyone of the following. Public comments shall be limited to 3 minutes unless otherwise specified by the board. Participants must be recognized by the presiding officer and note their name and municipality. All statements shall be directed to the presiding officer rather than individual board members, district employees, or members of the public. A speaker may speak once during each comment period. Please note that these sessions are designated for comments to protect the confidentiality and privacy rights of all members of our community. The board encourages members of the public to direct any comments regarding particular individuals, such as students or district employees, privately to the superintendent or other appropriate administrators or board members, or to communicate with the board and superintendent privately by sending an email to psdschoolboard@penridge.org. Questions raised and not addressed may be followed up at a later time. So there's no one signed up, but is there anybody that would like to make public comment? No? All right. Seeing none, we'll move right into the agenda. First item up for review is obsolete items. Mr. Dalton.
Okay, obsolete items at Grass Elementary, we have some Jensen speakers. We're going to put them on public surplus. They're not used anymore, we don't have a purpose for them. At Goof Elementary, we have a list of various equipment and books. Some of it we're going to scrap. The first 2 items are going to go to scrap, and then those 2 items are going to go to public surplus. And then the books are also going to go to public surplus. We'll try to sell them first, and the books, if we can't sell them, then we'll see what can also where. The next list is textbooks from Goof, and that we will do the same with, public surplus first, and then go from there if we can't sell them. We have the high school library weeding log, which is very large document, a lot of books there that are the high school's weeding out, and they go to public surplus first. We also have a hole punch at the high school that we're giving off a burning smell, so it's probably time for it to go away. So we're going to scrap that. And at the district administration office, we have a very shredder that's broken and just needs to be scrapped. So. And that's it for this month's
Board members, any questions, comments? Okay, I'd like to move those items. Anybody got any objections to moving those items? Okay, board meeting. All right, so, Siler Home and School.
Yep, next we have Mr. Grove is here, Miles is here to talk about the Siler Home and School request to add some playground equipment. So go ahead, Miles.
All right, I guess I'll pass out each one of these so you get an idea of the proposal. Thank you.
And they have that electronic also.
Oh, they do?
Yep, they do. Anybody want to pay for that?
I can't see it. It's easier on this.
All right, so on behalf of Home and School, I'm here speaking on their behalf to, we've raised about $24,000 through our Race for Ed funds to purchase some playground equipment. It has cost me kissing a pig and possibly sleeping on the top of the school too, on the roof. So please approve this. So
I think we need some pictures.
there is evidence. There is evidence. Trust me. So the total cost is about $25,000. It's $17,000 in the actual equipment, and then about $7,000 to $8,000 in actual install. The company will install it. It has all the certifications for safety, playground equipment, and so forth. It is one piece of a bigger, kind of larger vision for our playground, which is the back page, the very last page. So you'll see what we call the space net. That's the largest piece that's going to ground our playground. And then you'll see some peripheral kind of playground equipment that will add to it in the years to come, possibly maybe even in the fall. So the idea is to revamp our equipment. The current equipment that we have now, kids don't really play on it. Some of the equipment's unsafe. I've actually don't allow students to play on it anymore. It is scheduled to get removed, the older equipment, later this month. And then the install, hopefully we'll get the Space Net installed by the end of the school year. So then the kids can play on it. So the bigger picture is obviously it's an investment in the community because we want community members, families to be able to use it on the weekends and after school and so forth. So your support is greatly appreciated. Any questions?
This looks like a lot of fun, but I think your problem is gonna be that then kids are gonna want more time at recess and have time to actually
That's not
play on
necessarily a
it.
bad thing, but we won't get into that.
The ground itself is already
Already.
prepared for this because the footprint
Yep.
is similar to whatever you're
Yeah,
replacing.
you got it. So if you take a look at I think it's
I saw the red circle, I
Yep.
assumed that's what that meant.
red circle is the existing playground, all the equipment that's gonna be removed. It's basically kind of like push-up bars, sit-up bars. The kids don't really use it that much. It's, I think, about 20 years old too, so it's been used. So it's got all the correct padding on it and stuff. Obviously, we're gonna have to put more mulch in and so forth, but we budgeted that too. So we actually had a donor from a local family that's gonna donate it. So yeah.
Did you see the picture on the last page, Dr. Yarnell? It looks like you in the background. Trying to decide whether the company recruited you.
It does
Down the
actually.
wing's hand, or
It
that
actually
looks like you, the intensive supervising the children.
Spend much time on the side of the playground.
You're welcome to when we get this on. We can swing on the ropes together.
So you're using wood chips for it?
Yeah, typically, I mean, that's what I would love to be able to get the cushion actual material. The only issue with that is it does get a little swampy as far as when it rains, and especially in the springtime. So I don't know how well that material would hold up given time. So that's why it's nice to just have the mulch and then you renew the mulch every year.
Is there like, I guess there's certain requirements for how many inches of mulch
Yeah.
you have and all, so you.
Yep, yeah, we have it. They have it. They actually have guidelines with this play structure because it'll sit about 9 feet above the ground. So there's an actual, I think it's like 3 feet of mulch that it has to be. But kids can't reach the actual spear, the very tip top of it. So, but I'm sure they will manage. Probably, I'm sure they will.
Now you give them a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not going to say that.
Okay. No
So.
permits required?
No, I have, that's a good question. I do, we installed similar equipment, Compton, great company, it's actually a lifetime warranty on the company. I reached out to Hilltown Township 4 years ago, I have a letter, if you need it, that says that we don't need permits when it comes to playground and so forth, as long as we follow the impervious ground. And we're not putting pavement down or anything like that, so.
Questions? You got anything? Any objections moving forward?
What's the timeline?
Timeline would be the old equipment, existing playground equipment right now is gonna get ripped out probably not next week, but the week after. And then the install of the new playground equipment, hopefully will be before the end of school. So we'll at least have 1 week to be able to, for the kids to be able to play on it and so forth, so.
It'd be like a teaser before the summer.
Yeah,
Here's
that's.
your equipment, have a nice summer.
Well,
Or
and the
fifth
goal,
graders.
I know, well, and that's the reason why we're doing this, because the 5th grade doesn't get an opportunity to play and they raise a lot of money, so. So, okay. Any other questions?
Thank
No.
you.
Thanks for
Awesome, okay, thank you, thanks.
All right, so next item on the agenda is the request to seek bid for the bus replacements 2019-2020.
Yes.
Mr. Geiger.
Hello, how is everyone this evening? Okay, for this coming school year, the 1920 school year that is, we're looking to replace 10 buses, vans, whatever again. This year we'll be able to go up to 10 with a budget of $850,000. We're looking to replace, as you can see on page 2 of the budget, 118 passenger plus lifts with full track seating in there so that we can remove everything if we really had to. We generally don't. We always have to leave a couple there for the teacher or something, or a couple of kids.
But that leaves you the ability to configure as you need.
Yes, yes. In fact, today we sent a minibus up to Crayola Factory. It was normally set up for one wheelchair. They needed it for 8 students and 2 wheelchairs, plus a 72 passenger bus went up along with it. So the mechanic first thing this morning tore out 2 seats. You know, all they had to do is take a few bolts out and pull them up out of the track seating, put them aside. Tonight he put them back in after the bus came back, so it's ready to go as a 1 wheelchair bus again and more seating. So that's something that I've always done since I've been ordering buses. A lot of places only would buy them for 1 or 2 units, and then you're stuck with it. If you needed an extra wheelchair, you had to send an extra bus. This way, we actually have one that's 48 passenger bus, but we can take seats out and put 6 wheelchairs in if necessary. So it's really convenient, but all the minibuses that have wheelchair lifts on now have the track seating in it. So everything has that. So that one will be replacing a straight 30 passenger bus. We have an excess of those right now, but we're short on wheelchair buses. So this year we're gonna get rid of one of those and buy a wheelchair bus to replace it. So we have a spare for that. So we were pushing our luck on wheelchairs this year. We're gonna look to replace 6 72 passenger buses with 6 standard conventional buses. We, this year are not gonna put the integrated seats in a few of them, in these, because we have quite a few now that have them. Maybe next year, Jess she has talked to me, we discussed this. We'll skip a year without them, next year put them in. It saves a couple $1,000s on these buses. But we also now are gonna go for 2 additional 72 buses, passenger buses, but they're gonna have the storage compartments underneath on both sides. That way sports, when they go to lacrosse and all that, they can put all the gear under the bus, not in the aisle, and get a problem with the police arguing that we don't have enough exit, space in the aisle that competed with all the equipment. And then we're gonna go with CoStar for another 9 passenger van. We've started to be able to help the schools with vans, especially at high school with their sports and stuff. Dr. Bolton has had access to that for a couple of times, to taking people to conventions and things, and it's been nice that we've been able to supply them with a van and not have to tell them, well, you either gotta take your own car or lease a van, So we have been able to do that with the newer vans since we've been going to the 9s instead of the little Dodge Caravans for 6. It's been working out real nice. But we do have some that are getting up in age and miles, so we are still gonna replace one again this year. So the total cost of all the replacement of these 10, to purchase these 10 vehicles is estimated at the full budget this year, $850,000. That doesn't take into consideration any money we'll get with trades or sale of the buses if anyone buys them outright. We do have one vendor who likes to buy them outright, so depends, he might buy some this year again, he got a few last year. And if the vendors compete in their pricing and they do good trades like last year, we got $3,000 out of one of the vendors last year for those buses. And have a lot of miles, a lot of age. So we're hoping we get some good money back and we'll still be under budget then. I am replacing, let's see here, how's that go? There it is. We're gonna replace 9 buses, 1 mini and 8 full-size, but the 10th bus is bus 27, which unfortunately was totaled in an accident at Guth Elementary earlier this year. So we do need to replace it, so we have a full fleet with the upcoming year, with having kindergarten being transported. We didn't want to cut back on the fleet, we wanted to keep it at the size that it was. So everything's going to be coming out of the 2019-20 budget. We did have $850,000 in there again, and unless that's cut, we plan to proceed on ordering these as soon as the board approves it later in June, probably, when we're looking to, or July, I guess it is. Jess will be back to give you the final numbers on what we received back in the bids. On the next page is the list of all the buses that we are going to be looking to trade. Let's go back. Okay, as you can see, majority of them are either 2000 or 2001 vehicles. We have one that's a 2007. Yes, it's a lot newer of a bus, but it also is pushing 190,000 miles already. That's a minibus. The minibuses travel a lot. They go way down to Philadelphia, some of them, but that one is in need of replacement. So that's why we picked that one to be replaced. It's one of our last 2 diesel minibuses, so we have 1 more left for next year to replace, and then the entire minibus and van will be entirely gasoline. So, and that's the trend in the market.
Which one's the last one? Which one?
If you look, it's the bus 71.
Oh, 71.
That's a 2007 to 28 passenger, and it's almost, right now it's at 186 when I did this report, so it's pushing a little bit more than that now. But the industry is switching over to gasoline for minis. They're a lot easier to work on, they're cheaper to operate, you don't have to plug them in the winter and worry about the diesel gelling up and everything as they do in the bigger ones sometimes. But here we don't seem to have that problem because we are able to plug all of our buses in at night, the big ones during the winter months. So that's what I have. We're looking to go to bid after it goes to the board and the board approves it. We'll finalize the bid package with Jackie. Carl and I are working on the final descriptions of what we're looking for from the vendors, and then we're hoping to get it out there for 3 weeks of bidding and open bids the mid-June and come back to the board and the facilities in July for final approvals. Any questions?
When are they going to be delivered, if it indeed that you meet that time?
At this rate, we'll have them for Christmas again. It'll be your Christmas present next year. I've talked to a lot of these vendors at the last couple conventions, and they said we're one of the smarter ones because we go out to bid when they're making the deliveries for this year for everyone else and building them and getting them ready. So when they do that, then there's a lot less orders, a lot better quality they feel buses because you don't have this push to get them in. So, and they can cut the time that it takes to manufacture these buses because usually it's 6 to 8 months, we're getting them 4 to 5 months because there's less orders out in the market when we go to bid. It's been working out real well for us, and I've been very pleased with the quality that we've been getting from the vendors.
Mr. Geiger, I just want to thank you
Yes.
for your commitment to keeping care of the fleet. I know that you presented this back in the fall, just in
Yes.
terms of that the age of the fleet continues to go down, and that we don't have buses that are on their last legs and forced to kind of piecemeal them together, and that really is because of your forethought and the board's approval of
Yes.
this continual fund to be able to keep our fleet on top of that. So I know that it's not an obvious thing that happens in the district, but we really do appreciate it in terms of your care for
And
that.
a lot of that goes to Carl and the other mechanics
Yeah.
because they do a tremendous job in maintaining the fleet. They really do. When I got here, it was an ugly looking fleet, but it was a well-maintained fleet. And it was because of the years that they were on the road, the miles, and some of the quality of the paint jobs that received from International. There was a 2-year span where they just didn't hold up, and that's what was peeling off the finish and stuff. It really made them look ugly. But, you know, we're pleased to be able to say now that they're using Penridge buses and we're taking them to the districts outside of the area and they're seeing a nice bus. We have a few more to get rid of, but these here, getting these out of here this time will really make the fleet look a lot nicer going down the road.
Do they come in green?
Yes, but you can only use those for a special activity bus.
Just saying.
You can have any color you want if it's only for special activities. But otherwise, it has to be the ugly school bus yellow with the black lines.
Nice try.
That's allowed. We are allowed to put that on there. It saves on the heat because the yellow tends to heat the bus up more. It's a couple $100 more, but we do put the white roof on our buses for that sake, especially the air-conditioned mini buses. It really does help them. We also go with the tinted windows, which helps too. Clear glass on the sides, it just draws that heat into them, just like in some cars. You have the tinted windows in your car, it helps you. You don't have them, it gets like an oven.
Yeah.
So it's one way you can save on a little bit of pain for those students during the summer.
Yeah, right, I didn't know we had it, I'd seen it.
Yeah,
on
there's
other
quite a few of
places.
our buses that do have the white roofs on now. All the minis, I think, have them on, and there's a large number of the large buses now. that do also. Plus, if the state ever requires you to put the numbers of the bus on the roof, it'll help in them being able to identify the bus. But right now, they don't identify it. Some districts do put their bus number on the roof, but then they have to be these huge numbers up there, so they can be seen. But that is a thing that's been talked about, and this way you're prepared to do it. You don't have to paint bus roofs to do it.
So, Mr. Geiger, thank you.
You're welcome.
And please pass along our sincere appreciation to the staff who maintain these buses.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
And congratulations on your retirement again, Ryan.
Thank you.
What are you
28
saying?
days.
Because
You wanna
eventually it'll
know.
be your last meeting, right? I don't know.
In case Sean wants to know, it's 28 days, Sean.
28 days.
Debbie, we're sorry he's retired.
We'll be busy, I
We
know.
feel
We
for
will
you.
be. She'll keep me busy, I'm sure.
Okay, so that brings us to the tail end of the facilities agenda. Is there any public comment? Okay, so none.
Oh, I think she has her hand up.
Yeah, it's such a minor point. but-
Okay, thank you. You're going right up anyway.
It was taken by the camera.
I don't like to see myself. Sue Furlong, West Rockville Township. I wouldn't buy the 2 buses with the luggage. Those are incremental buses. I would just take one of the 6 that are replacements, put luggage compartments underneath them. That's gonna be a little extra, but you're saving $180,000 by not buying 2 incremental buses. He said there are extra buses, and I would just take 2 of my replacement buses and put the luggage under the bottom of it. And I don't think it's gonna cost you that much extra during the day to run them. And I would not buy 2 extra buses.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, with that, the next facilities committee meeting is scheduled for June 11. And with that, we'll close the facilities.
Oh, thanks.
You're not.
You want to follow the next agenda? You want to back on that? Okay, I'll call the finance committee meeting to order. Do we have any public comments? Then we'll start with review of contracts for approval. Mr. Robert?
Okay. All right, we have contracts A through E are all Learn Well, and E is Children's Hospital Philadelphia. These are all tutorial services or educational services for students that are placed in medical facilities. F is the Bucks County Intermediate Unit, an annual contract for the special education services provided by the IU to our students. This contract is $4.6 million estimated for next year, and that does fluctuate based on the actual services that we use. The letter G is the Montgomery County.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dobbin, can I just highlight that in F, in terms of special ed total? A couple things that are impacting that cost change, if you look at the change there, are a couple pieces. One, it fluctuates in terms of the students that we have in the programs. And so when I talked to Dr. America with this, we do have more students next year that are on the high end of services in terms of the amount of money per child for the services they're receiving. And that comes and goes depending on the students you have in the district, so we do have a few there. There was an increase in cost at the IU, And we also have more students serviced by the IU simply because we have fewer students outside of Pembroke. And so some of this is the added cost because some of the students are staying with us instead of going to outside placements. And so the IU is providing some or all of their education depending on the child itself. So I just wanted to kind of talk to you about the three largest cost factors as to why that increase is there into next year's budget.
And when we looked at the total pupil services budget, it increased, as Dr. Wyerko presented it last month, it increased about $327,000, the total budget. Where this is a $1 million increase just for the IU. So it, as Dr. Bolton, that kind of confirms what Dr. Bolton's saying, there's a shift of where we're getting the services for the students from other outside placements to the IU. So that's why it's such a big increase. Okay, G is the Montgomery County Intermediate Unit. This is a contract we have to put in place for each year for services. And then if we do use any services from the Montgomery County IU, then we come back to the board with each individual service to be approved for a student that may need it. But at the beginning of the year, we get this in place so that we're already one step down the road if we need them for anything.
Do we end up sending a lot of kids to the Montgomery County unit?
No.
So it's just something like a safety precaution?
Yes. Yep.
Alright.
Absolutely.
And is that more if there was a student that was placed in Montgomery County and then you needed to add services in whatever that placement was, is that more what it's for? Or, like, because I'm wondering what would Montgomery County, what kind of services would they offer at Bucks County?
That's what I'm saying, that's what I said, why would we, it's just a safety net.
I have never seen it utilized in the districts that I've been involved in. Because Bucks County and Montgomery County are both pretty comprehensive IUs, I think it is best practice to have this agreement in place so that if your IU does not offer the service, although I'm not sure there are any services that Bucks couldn't handle, that for a Montgomery County student. So we could follow up with Dr. Wyerk and even Dr. Kaufman to see.
Yeah. I know these guys, the Montgomery County IU jumps in for us and does some title services
Okay.
in some of the private schools that are in Montgomery County that would be within our 10-mile range. So some small things like that.
Sorry, I just wondered.
That's fine.
Good.
Okay. H is the Council for Southeast Pennsylvania. This is the SAP program, and the council provides training, support, and consultation services, and referral services for our in-house SAP team. So they are the support for that. And then our in-house SAP team uses them as a resource and to make sure that everything happens that needs to happen for a referral to happen. So, and that's the same cost as the current year, which is $19,850 for that service. I and J are settlement agreements that the I is a settlement agreement that's done every summer for a student for his or her extended school year camp. And this is a long-standing agreement that we do this, and then we just prove the agreement each year for that student. And then the J is a settlement agreement that is an extension of a current settlement agreement based on the needs of the student. It was determined that the student needs to maintain the same placement and services, and doing it through extending the service agreement is the best way to do that for the student. There's no break in service, the student gets what he or she needs, and then we have the releases from normal releases in the settlement agreement. So, okay. K is Crowd Pleasers, which is the DJ service for the North Middle School for 6 events next school year that are planned to happen there for the kids. And that is a total of $1,450, and that's paid for by the kids through their student activity fund.